style of running it in a totally hierarchical thing where the students are the lowest status in the community. It's not community. It's not viewed as a community, and the students are the lowest status, and they need to be made to feel like that in order to comply with what the powers that be are enforcing them to do. And that is just fundamentally wrong. And that system has developed over the last 200 years a little bit in the range of subjects we study, but it's developed into a still fairly even more arbitrary than it was, because back then it was what they needed to work in the factories. Whereas now it's a bunch of random stuff. Like, yeah, it sounds kind of, well, we're used to it, the sound of the subject, so it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, history, art, drama, English, maths, yeah, science, great. But when you look at what they're studying and the way they're studying it, it makes no sense.
At all.
None at all. If you've been in a school, and you're not
literally
blind, unless it's a great individual school,
literally the best example I can give here is I know anything before university is a taster course, and I know this because my mate said he studied maths at university, and he said the first day he went in, they told him everything that you've learned up to this point.
It was bollocks.
Very much.
I've heard of that being told on other uni courses as well. But you know what the joke thing is? Uni's a joke as well.
Yeah,
Uni's a bigger joke than school.
It really is,
not in every case. There's some great courses and some people get a lot out of it and get what they need out of it. But on the whole, it's a joke.
It's literally just a bubble where life doesn't matter.
It's just free, yeah. And really and truly, I've always been totally against the idea.
You didn't go?
I was changing the topic. I meant totally against the idea of conscription, national conscription.
Yeah.
Oh
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, changing the topic. quick swings. We can get back to uni, but I don't know. I've always been totally against that idea because I've always thought of it in relation to being in the army. But when you think about that as an idea, national service, that's what not conscription. That means to the army, I think. National service, if it isn't for the army, could be the solution to bear stuff. I heard this on the Joe Rogan podcast. They were talking about America, but I related it to the UK and how useful it could be, because they're talking about the way Israel do it, and I know a fair few Israelis, and I'm never I'm not Israeli, but even with my name.
You mean what they have in Sweden, where everyone is kind of.
Is it Sweden where they've got the system in progress?
Yeah.
Basically, I'm talking about a system where everyone between the age of 16 and 21, you have to do a year or two of helping out in some way that's needed. Yeah. But imagine if we made that stuff like being teachers. Imagine if all teachers done it like that and everyone just taught the age group below them. Or if those jobs were stuff like doing the bins, being bin men, and being nurses and working in old people's homes and working as teaching assistants. Kind of shitty jobs, but jobs that need doing. And you get paid a living wage, and they're not crazy hours. So you get to have fun for those couple of years as well. And so a lot of Israeli people have this commitment and this devotion to their country, which I've never really been able to understand. Okay. Especially because they're I'm excited to join the army. I've spoken to so many Israelis and they're really excited about their national service and joining the army. I'm always fuck. I'm so sorry you're going to the army. I hope you're all right. But they see it as a positive thing because they see it as oh, I have to. Everyone in my country does it. I'm supporting my country. And that makes the country feel like a community, which is something we don't have in the UK except when the World Cup's on. Yeah. And so that gives it... And obviously, I don't think it should be through an army necessarily. But imagine if we just had that national service and it was compulsory. And people might be a bit pissed off at first when we introduce it. People would get used to that idea very easily. And it would give everyone a sense of community. Doing the bins, you'd recycling, so much needs doing.
I did a Duke of Edinburgh award.
I used to work for them. It's jokes. It's sick.
Obviously, I know what you mean. When I know I had to complete my course, I had to do some kind of service, and I had to go out and
volunteering,
source my
own,
my own source of whatever I was doing. I think my first time I did it, I volunteered in the library and I helped out in the library.
Cool. Did you do bronze, silver, and gold, or
I did bronze, silver, and gold.
Awesome.
I did bronze, silver, all of them completed properly, and then gold. I've just done the expedition.
You've done the expedition, calm.
And I've done one other thing.
That's what matters. I haven't done any. I haven't signed any of them off. I did the volunteering and the sport and the activity for bronze. Did all of them, but I did it many years ago in the year when it went from being a paper system to a computer system. And on my parents' home, desktop that was enormous, the same one we've still got, but I couldn't upload I couldn't manage to scan in the what I'd written on this little booklet, so I never got around to it. Even when I worked for them, I didn't actually put it in the computer system. I completed it. But the expedition on Gold is sick, isn't it? Did you enjoy it? Where did you do it?
To Wales.
Snowdonia or Brecon Beacons?
I went to the Black Mountains.
Black Mountains?
Yeah.
I don't know where they are. Somewhere in Wales. Cool.
Yeah.
Sick. I haven't heard them. I need to check them out.
It's dope. It was really nice.
I've been to Brecon Beacons, but it might be in Brecon Beacons.
It
but
might be in there,
I don't know. So I don't think it's in Snowdonia.
But I know that
Gold's amazing. DV's actually is really cool. We need more programs like that. It's a good program for getting young. Yeah,
but we
it's a
only
really
have
great program.
That, and like not many people talk about it, and it's.
We
not
should
really...
get DV to sponsor the podcast, man.
If I could get that shit, that'd be crazy.
Anyone we mention, just be like, yo, just sponsor us.
Sponsor me, man. Jeez,
get the views up first, like.
Yeah, but we need more systems in place to help the community or help the young people more fucking, because that's what I'm saying, it's because 100%. They're taking the fucking funding.
What happened to all the youth clubs?
They're taking the funding.
No more youth clubs, like what?
They don't have the money to... No one's
where are kids meant to get that education from older people, but people that can be on a level with them? Because that's another problem with the education system. The way it is set up, part of the fundamentals of it working in a system where the kids have to comply or they get punished, means that like there can't be a nice connection, there can't be a bond between student and teacher. It's virtually impossible. And if you're a teacher who is nice to the kids, you get in trouble for it, like, because the schools are worried about covering their asses in case a kid goes, oh, he touched me inappropriately, or I don't know, like. And obviously, like, having no physical contact between teachers and students in school is, I don't know, like, it's challenging when you want to shake a child's hand on their birthday, and like if a child goes to hug you, like, you want it. Sadly, we don't live in a world where you can do that. But in a youth group, you can. And yeah, fair enough, maybe there's some situations where leaders and kids get together and it don't, and it's not positive. However, that's a more natural way of education. Not sex between leaders and fucking kids.
Yeah, of course. But
work in an environment, learning from people that are kind of your peers, but they're a bit older, like in a youth group setting. Or just working with people you can be on a level with and friendly with. How are you going to learn from people you're scared of and you can't be honest with? It's ridiculous.
I think one of my mates,
I get wound up about the education system, you know.
I think my mates, he's trying to do like a Big Brother program at the moment. Setting up...
trying to set another one of them up.
Yeah.
Great.
Trying to do that.
Is that good? Do we need another one of them?
Big Brother programs where, like,
like Big Brother, is that good?
As in, like, Big Brother, as in the sense, like, an older guy.
Oh, bro! I thought you were talking about I thought you were talking about TV, fam. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of.
I thought you were talking about a reality show.
No.
I was like, well, that's cool, good for him, like, as a good production credit, but like,
I
thought you were mates with people who did like cool films and stuff.
No. Like he's setting up
a Big Brother like organisation to mentor people.
Yeah, something to mentor people. Yeah,
oh, that's fantastic. We need more of them. There's a lot of good ones about though, like the Daddy Cool Project. You heard of that?
I've heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's a lot of cool ones about like promoting positive fatherhood and like there's a lot of good stuff about. Are we on a schedule of stuff we're going to be talking about?
Not really. I'll go back to the article that I had at hand, which was...
Do you like small blackberries?
Oh, of course, man.
Thank you. Shout out Pick Your Own Farm in, like, where is that? Foster's Enfield way.
I need to...
Banging fruit, bare cheap.
Don't run on this page. There you go. So the headline reads... Medical cannabis is to be made available on prescription.
But. Let's go get that for my ADHD. But no, they won't give it to me for my ADHD because you've got to have epilepsy.
Hey.
Nearly went on a get thing, but I'm not gonna start.
Hey man.
I think it's for epilepsy and like really see. I think it's they're saying it's for super rare cases, which is fair enough. But mate, it's the first step.
It's the first step.
It's not. It's the second step. CBD weed has been legal for 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
I couldn't believe this when I found this out a few months ago. That CBD weed has been you've been able to buy flowers like buds legally. There's a shop on Portobello Road.
See, this is
been
the
there
thing.
for years.
I've found out there's a grey area with it.
Right.
Whereas you can
buy
it. No, you can buy it and smoke it legally. It's not. I wouldn't say that you should smoke it maybe on the street because
it's easily confused.
Yeah, exactly. Because one of my mates told me a story about a guy who was smoking up the CBD weed, but he was smoking it walking down the street.
Yeah.
Obviously, feds smelt it.
Yeah. But it smells like weed.
Yeah, it smells like weed. He walked up to him and he was like, yo, you can't be smoking that. He was like, no, it's CBD.
Yeah.
They took it to the lab. They tested it, but because it had a certain amount of THC in it, which was
too much
above the
0.
legal.
There's like a 0.0 something
Yeah.
percent that the CBD weed can have of THC because it's impossible to get all of it out. I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also,
it had more
THC
THC than that.
a certain amount of THC in it so it can react.
But the other thing is, if it's complicated though, because if you've been smoking weed with THC, oh no, they tested the weed though.
Yeah,
they tested the weed.
But that's
what the weed that was in the spliff, like that had already burnt up.
The CBD stuff.
Yeah.
It had too.
Okay, so he obviously hadn't got it from a legit source of THC.
Yeah, of course, and obviously
Hemp Botanics, Portobello Road.
I think it
they've
was
got like
just
the
a bit
legit
under
stuff.
as well, but they still bagged him for it.
Alright, so I've heard different stories. So like I don't know, I had one. There was an article. I can't remember if it was an article. No, it was a cop posting on an online forum, and he said that if I see someone who's smoking something that looks and smells like weed, I'm gonna nick them. And like whatever, if the CBD stuff's legal, when it gets to the lab, we'll see, and then they can go. But if they're smoking publicly something that looks like it, I'm gonna nick them. However, I've heard someone got stopped by the police driving. They were hotboxing the car. They just pulled off. They were boy racer. They just pulled off, and like the car was hotboxed. The police come over. Obviously, they had to open the windows. The smell come out. Police was like, "Come on, mate, you've just fucking breezed off, and you've." I doubt the policeman swore, but you know what I mean. That was the sentiment. You've just breezed off in your car. You're still smoking weed, and the guy went, "No, I bought it at Hemp Botanics. It's CBD weed." This is the lady who works in Hemp Botanics told me this. Shout out to her. She's blessed. I'm not saying it. Anyhow, like she told me this story as one of her customers because I said like, "What's the deal with driving and smoking this?" She said he was pulled over by the police, and they said, "Okay, fair enough." He showed them the receipt. He showed them the pot, and they said, "All right, fair enough," and they let him go. They didn't even take it and test it. I imagine in some cases, obviously, I think it just depends on the day the policeman's have him.
Yeah.
That's what I figured with driving and smoking. But it's legal to drive it and smoke it. It is.
Yeah.
So if you're smoking properly legit CBD weed, from all the research I've been able to do, and it's hard to research this kind of stuff. They make it really tricky to find this shit out. Really tricky. But from all the research I've done, it seems that if you're smoking weed that's got no THC in it, or like under the minimum which should be for CBD weed, which is like 0.00 something, it's like nothing, it's no THC, then you are fine smoking and driving. And if you get a cop on a bad day, they might take you in and test it, and then they're going to look like a dickhead when it comes out with no THC, because CBD is not illegal. THC is a Class B drug.
Yeah.
So if your weed ain't got so it's mad. Weed is kind of legal. I know it's not proper, but
the thing with the Medicare, with it becoming medically being able to be prescribed medically, that means it's going to have to come down from a B to a C.
Is that happening?
Yeah, I think that is going to happen.
But so they're going to keep it as a Class C drug.
They're still going to keep it illegal for
okay, fair enough. I mean, like
recreational
they
use.
use. I mean,
that's still illegal, but
they use morphine and loads of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Look
at
that, like the way they use poppies. Wow. But yeah, no, I mean it's positive. It's like positive steps.
But it all started from the little boy Billy Cadwell.
Yeah. And I mean, it's great for the people who need it with epilepsy. It's absolutely fantastic, and it's about bloody time.
It is about, and it's.
So here's a question. Like, so there must be something that THC. They need the THC combined with CBD to treat the epilepsy, right? Because they could get CBD oil, they could get that easy.
Yeah, but it's
so
like
they need the THC in it. What are they getting for what they're getting?
For the CBD to react properly.
Yeah.
You need a certain
THC
amount of
to get
THC.
Not to react properly, to get a psychoactive
to get
effect.
a proper
the epilepsy cure is obviously it might be some of the CBD's muscle relaxing properties, but they need the psychoactive effect for the painkillering, I guess, as well. I mean, it's a better way to take a painkiller, I guess, than taking pharmaceutical drugs.
I read about the story, and then it's basically they used to have like so many pills that they used to give him to take, but they used to have the pills had so many bad side effects that it wasn't worth it. But then once they went to California one time and they tried the CBD oil and they saw
they had to go to California to try CBD oil.
Yeah, because it's not legal here, isn't it?
No, it is.
Oh, but no, before
this was a couple of years ago. Because CBD oil has been legal here for a couple of years.
Yeah, but I mean, before it was legal here, they went to California. They tried,
and the effects were crazy positive.
And
right?
it was positive, and there was no side effects.
I know.
And they saw him actually living his life as opposed to having all these seizures.
That's the tip of the iceberg of a bigger problem, which is the pharmaceutical industry, though, and the pharmaceutical companies. That whole industry and the pharmaceutical companies are all out to get profit.
Yeah.
And so all the pharmaceutical drugs that doctors, even like the way they taught at uni, like the answer for everything is take a pill.
Yeah.
And like it's becoming more well known that that's actually not the best way.
It's not.
But the NHS and most of the national health organisations across the world have to continue giving out the drugs because their funding comes from the drug companies who coincidentally like fund their own tests, and they can do 100 trials and release the one trial with a result they like. They don't have to publish all their trials.
Yeah.
I mean, how absurd.
It's crazy.
Like, it's so corrupt. It's so corrupt. It's like, it's really scary. And you know, like...